Have you ever looked in the mirror and quietly wondered if you've been living like a fool? Not because you're not smart, but because somewhere along the way you traded wisdom for ego, strength for pride, purpose for pleasure. You kept doing things you knew were wrong, but you did them anyway. You ignored the warning signs, you silenced your instincts, and now you're paying for it. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way, but what if you are the one in your own way?" This video isn't about mocking weak men. It's about revealing the 6 signs of a stupid man so you can recognize them, destroy them, and rise into the strength you were born for. Let's begin. If you're tired of living on autopilot and want to build inner power through ancient Stoic wisdom, hit that subscribe button, like the video, and stay until the end, because this might be the wake-up call that changes your entire path. Sign number 1, he can't. Control his emotions, Stoic suggestion. Rule yourself first. You know that moment when your jaw tightens, when your chest tightens and your blood feels like fire in your veins? You want to scream, slam the door, break something because they disrespected you, ignored you, made you feel invisible. But here's the truth, that fire, it's not power. It's a sign that you've already lost. Victor was that guy. Explosive, emotional. He used to call it passion. He'd say, "At least I feel things. At least I care." But underneath that noise was a man who couldn't even control his own hands when anger showed up. One night, his girlfriend walked out in the middle of an argument. Not because of what he said, but because of the way he said it. His voice loud, his hands shaking, his eyes burning not with love but ego. She didn't leave because she stopped loving him. She left because she didn't feel safe. And that night, when the door clicked shut and silence filled the room, Victor finally heard the truth. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." But Victor had given all his power away. To a woman, to a bad day, to his own temper. Tell me something. Have you ever said words you couldn't take back? Ever thrown something, punched a wall, broken someone's heart just because your emotions hijacked your logic? That isn't strength, brother, that's slavery. Because when you can't rule yourself, the world will rule you. The Stoics didn't suppress emotion, they studied it. They knew the man who reacts is weak. The man who responds is in control. Victor didn't become Stoic overnight. It started small. The next time someone insulted him, he breathed. When she ignored his text, he waited. When the voice in his head screamed, "React," he whispered back, "No." And little by little, he built a fortress inside his chest. Not cold, but calm. Not numb, but unshakable. He realized true power isn't in the punch. It's in the pause. So ask yourself, when life tests you, do you explode? Or do you stand still? Do you need to prove your power? Or do you live in it? The stupid man is ruled by impulse. The wise man rules his emotions like a disciplined king. And when Victor mastered that, he didn't just win back peace. He won back himself. Sign number 2, he seeks approval instead of respect. Stoic suggestions: seek integrity, not applause. You ever catch yourself checking who watched your story? Rewriting a text 5 times to make sure it sounds cool? Saying something you didn't even believe just to fit in? Yeah, you've been there. So was Victor. Victor used to be the chameleon in every room. With the guys, he cracked crude jokes to fit the pack. With women, he played the nice guy, the bad boy. Whatever role got him the reaction he craved. He wasn't living, he was performing. Every compliment was a drug. Every like was a hit. And every silence felt like death. You know why? Because the stupid man thinks being liked is the same as being respected. But it's not. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "It never ceases to amaze me. We love ourselves more than others, yet we care more about their opinion than our own." Victor cared more about how others saw him than who he actually was. He wore masks, smiled fake smiles. He called it charisma. But underneath, he was hollow. You ever feel that? You're surrounded by people, and yet you feel unknown even by yourself. Victor hit a wall when a girl he was dating turned to him and said, "I don't even know who you are." And in that moment, it hit him like a truck. He didn't know either. So he did something radical. He stopped posting for validation. He stopped forcing conversations. He stopped chasing people. And he sat with himself. At first it was brutal. The silence, the boredom, the nothingness. But then, something new happened. He started to remember what he liked, what he believed, what made him feel alive, not approved, not followed, but real. He said no more. He spoke less but meant more. And suddenly, people started respecting him not for being agreeable, but for being authentic. The stupid man wants to be liked by everyone. The wise man wants to be respected by the right ones. Victor realized that being respected often means being misunderstood. But it also means being free. So ask yourself, brother, would you rather be loved for a lie or respected for your truth? Would you rather be popular or powerful? Stop living for applause. Start living with integrity, because the man who chases approval will always be owned by it. But the man who lives by his principles, he owns himself. And that is the beginning of unshakable masculinity. Sign number 3, he avoids responsibility. Stoic suggestion, own everything you touch. Let me ask you something, man. When things fall apart, do you look in the mirror, or do you look for someone to blame? Victor used to be the king of excuses. He had a reason for everything. Late on rent? His boss was stingy. Relationship falling apart? She changed. No progress in life? It's the system. It's the economy. It's the world. But you could smell the truth beneath all of it. He was scared. Scared to face the one man responsible for his life, himself. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You must build your life action by action, and be content if each one achieves its goal as far as possible, and no one can keep you from this." But Victor wasn't building. He was escaping, blaming, avoiding, pretending life was happening to him instead of being created by him. You ever do that? Scroll for hours instead of doing what needs to be done? Put off the hard talk, the workout, the decision? You tell yourself you're tired, busy, not ready. But deep down, you know, you're just not owning your life. Victor's wake-up call came the night his car got towed. He had ignored the parking ticket, missed the deadline, and still he blamed the system. But as he walked home in the rain, phone dead, no one to call, there was no one left to blame. No girl, no friend, no job, just him. And in that silence, something shifted. He remembered the Stoic principle. Don't explain your philosophy, embody it. So he stopped running. The next morning, Victor started owning his day like a man possessed. He stopped saying, "I'll try." He said, "I will." He stopped avoiding the tough conversations and had them, with steady eyes and a calm voice. He stopped blaming the world and started building within it. It wasn't easy, but it was pure. He realized something powerful. Responsibility isn't a burden. It's a throne. The stupid man runs from responsibility and ends up a slave to everything. The wise man takes ownership and becomes king over his domain. So ask yourself, are you living by choice or by excuse? Are you reacting or are you leading? The moment you stop running, the moment you say, "This is mine," all of it, that's when the real strength begins. Victor stopped being a victim. And in doing so, he became something rare in today's world. A man. Sign number 4, he puts pleasure above purpose. Stoic suggestion, choose discipline over desire. Let's get real, brother. How many times have you chased the quick hit, the easy win? The fast food, the fast sex, the fast validation? You tell yourself it's just a release. Just one more episode, one more scroll. But when it's over, you're left with that hollow feeling in your gut. That's what Victor used to live for pleasure. He called it freedom. Late nights, cheap dopamine, quick hookups. But it wasn't freedom, it was chains. Marcus Aurelius warned us. The pursuit of pleasure is slavery. Victor didn't understand that until he woke up next to a girl he didn't care about, in an apartment he didn't respect, staring at a life he didn't recognize. You ever had that moment? You're surrounded by the stuff you thought would make you feel alive, but you feel empty as hell. Victor thought pleasure would give him happiness, but it robbed him of purpose. He started skipping the gym. He stopped building his business. He was tired all the time, but not from effort, from avoidance. Because the truth is, the more you indulge in comfort, the weaker you become. The Stoics knew this. They trained themselves to want less so they could do more, to delay gratification, to find meaning in the grind, not the escape. Victor's turning point wasn't dramatic. No crash, no breakdown. It was quiet. He was staring at himself in the mirror, bags under his eyes, and he asked the most painful question a man can ask. What the hell am I doing with my life? No answer, just silence. That night, he deleted the dating apps. He set an alarm not to go out but to rise early. He wrote down a mission for his life. Not goals. A mission. something bigger than comfort. And it hurt. The detox from cheap pleasure felt like withdrawal. But every day he got stronger. He replaced the scroll with pages of meditations. He traded late nights for early mornings, and he stopped chasing women and started building a man they'd chase. You see, the stupid man worships comfort. The wise man respects discipline. So here's the real question. Are you living to feel good now or to feel proud later? Are you seeking high moments or a high purpose? Victor learned that pleasure is fleeting, but purpose leaves a legacy. And now, he sleeps with peace, not regret. He moves with clarity, not chaos. He lives with mission, not noise. You want to feel alive? Don't chase what's easy. Chase what's real. Sign number 5, he talks but doesn't act. Stoic suggestion: waste no more time arguing what a good man should be one. Let's get something straight, my friend. You've heard all the talkers. They're everywhere. The guys who can quote Aristotle, drop quotes from Marcus Aurelius, and tell you exactly how life should be lived. But when it comes time to live it, where are they? Talking, arguing, explaining, but not doing. Victor was one of these guys. He could talk the talk. He'd sit in cafes debating with friends about philosophy, life, love. He'd give wisdom to anyone who asked. But when it came down to doing the work, the sweat, the grind, nothing. He was good at saying, "This is what a man should be." But what he didn't realize was that every word he spoke was a wall he built between himself and the man he actually wanted to become. Here's the problem you face too. It's easy to talk about strength. It's easy to talk about discipline. It's easy to talk about courage, but it's hard as hell to live it. And that's where the stupid man fails. He has all the words, but no actions to back them up. Have you ever been there? You have big ideas. You can talk for hours. But when the time comes to act, it's like your feet are stuck in quicksand. Your intentions vanish. You find an excuse. You postpone. You try again tomorrow. And that tomorrow never comes. Victor hit his breaking point one evening after giving a speech to his friends about living with purpose. He was talking about discipline, about waking up early, about stopping the distractions. But then later that night, his alarm went off at 5 a.m., and he hit snooze. He realized then that he wasn't living what he preached. His words had become just noise, empty. So he made a decision. No more talk. He started acting. The next morning, he woke up at 5 a.m., no snooze button. He put in the work, no matter how tired he felt. He didn't wait for the perfect moment. He just did. Victor began to be the man he had talked about. No more someday. No more if only. He was no longer interested in talking about what a good man should do. He was out there, doing it. Marcus Aurelius said, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." That's the Stoic challenge. It's not about who you say you are, it's about who you actually are, when no one's watching. And when Victor started acting in alignment with his words, everything changed. The respect, the peace, the results, they all followed. So ask yourself, what have you been talking about but not doing? Where are you still hiding behind words instead of stepping into action? The stupid man talks. The wise man acts. The moment you stop talking and start being, that's the moment you reclaim your power. Victor didn't wait for permission. He simply became. Sign number 6, he ignores his inner voice. Stoic suggestion: listen to the logos within. How many times have you heard that little voice inside you? The one that whispers, "This doesn't feel right." The one that nudges you to take a different path. But you ignore it because the world is loud, and it's easier to drown out that inner wisdom. Victor was the kind of guy who ignored that voice. In fact, he was proud of it. He thought ignoring his gut instincts made him strong. He thought that by blocking out his inner voice, he could power through life, pushing forward with his own plans, his own decisions, his own control. He was wrong. Victor ignored that voice for years. It told him to leave that toxic job. It told him to stop hanging out with people who dragged him down. It told him that the relationship he was in wasn't meant to be. But Victor kept pushing. He buried his feelings. He ignored the warning signs. Why? Because the world was loud. Everyone was telling him to keep going, to keep fighting, to keep making things work. The pressure to act like everything was fine was unbearable, so he shut out that voice. He ignored the logos, the rational inner guidance that was always there, trying to steer him toward the truth. And then it all came crashing down. The job he hated, the one he stayed in for years just to prove he could handle it, it drained him, sucked the life out of him. the toxic relationship he tried to make work. It left him feeling empty, hollow, like he was constantly giving and never receiving. That inner voice, it was right the entire time. Victor just couldn't hear it anymore because he had gotten so used to ignoring it. Marcus Aurelius writes in Meditations, "The rational soul moves in harmony with the logos. It's the voice of the universe, calling you to act in accordance with truth and nature." Victor finally understood. When he ignored his inner voice, he was walking away from his true nature. The logos wasn't just some abstract idea. It was his inner compass. It was the essence of what was right for him, guiding him through life's noise. When he finally listened, when he stopped ignoring that voice, everything began to change. He left the job that drained him. He ended relationships that weren't right for him. He began to trust himself more and more. That inner wisdom, it didn't come in a big dramatic flash. It was a whisper, a nudge, a sense of deep knowing that he had been ignoring for far too long. Victor started to realize something profound. The stupid man is the one who keeps fighting against the voice inside of him. He thinks he knows better. He refuses to acknowledge that inner guidance. The wise man, however, listens. He trusts that inner voice, the logos, and follows it even when it's hard. So let me ask you, how often have you ignored that little voice inside of you? How many times have you overruled your gut feelings just to fit in, just to avoid discomfort? The moment you start listening to your inner voice, you stop being a slave to the chaos around you. You reclaim your power. You take back control of your life and start living in alignment with who you're truly meant to be. Victor stopped ignoring the voice within, and in that moment his life shifted. He started acting in harmony with the logos, and for the first time in years he felt at peace. You don't have to wait until everything falls apart like Victor did. You can listen now. Trust the wisdom within, because that's where true strength lies. So, which of these signs hit you the hardest? Be honest, not with me, with yourself. You might have seen one, maybe two. Hell, maybe all six, but that doesn't make you weak. That doesn't make you broken. It makes you aware, and awareness is where transformation begins. Subscribe if you're done being distracted, done being soft, done being lost. Like this video if you felt that truth punch you in the chest. Share it with a brother who's losing himself and needs a wake-up call. We're building something real here, men of discipline, clarity, and unshakable inner power. And remember the words of Marcus Aurelius. When you arise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love. Don't waste that privilege being stupid. With that said, thanks for watching, and until next time, stay grounded, stay sharp, and stay stoic.